Well, I mean, the Motorhead story was not. It was not a violent story, other than the fact that Twisted Sister had its first ever performance in England with no record out. Nobody had ever seen the band over there. Was opening for Motorhead at a football stadium. Huge show. Motorhead was huge, and it was on with like seven other bands. And we wound up by some craziness of cancellations, and because we were from the U.S. and there was some curiosity, special guesting with no album. And we had to go on in the daylight, which we'd never done before. We had heard that bands that wore makeup had been unceremoniously bottled off the stage. Bands like Girl with Phil Lewis and from L.A. Guns and what's his name from Phil Collins, his name? Phil Collin from Def Leppard, where they wore makeup and they basically nearly were killed. So we were going on in the daylight on top of everything else, no cloak of darkness, and we were really pretty terrified. There was actually talk of not wearing the makeup and costumes backstage, and I said, "Look, I'm as scared as anybody because Motorhead's crowd is you don't get much uglier. I mean, you'd rather have sex with one of the guys than the girl in the crowd." And I said, we've done this for 6.5 years now. I've been through hell with this makeup and costumes. I'm not taking them off now. So we were going to go out anyway. And Lemmy Kilmister, I always say he knew the smell of human excrement. He knew we had shit in our own pants. And so he came in and said, "I'm going to introduce you guys," which I thought was the most gracious thing for a headliner to do, to come out before his set. And we walked out on stage, and the people went, bottles were back like this. People were just getting ready to start throwing. And the crowd, because they saw us, and Lemmy walked out, and everybody froze. And Lemmy said, I'm going to say it in English so you understand, because you can't. Lemmy's like, "Whoa." He said, "These are some friends of mine from America. Give them a listen. Twisted Sister." And we played a ferocious set. And the place went nuts. So nuts, in fact, that it was one of the most memorable reactions of my career. 10 minutes after our show, as we sat in a locker room toweling off, we heard the stadium and you heard Twisted Sister. 10 minutes after the show, we're like, whoa. And then Lemmy came in and said to me, "I introduced you, now you introduce me." And I was stunned to be asked by Lemmy and I went out on stage and the place went crazy. And I brought on Motorhead, then stood on the side of the stage and just headbanged ferociously and he dedicated America to me, and it was one of those nights that I'll never forget. And it launched Twisted Sister's career in England and subsequently the world. And I think that if Lemmy had not stepped in, that it would have been a very different story to tell. I love you, Lemmy.